We used to struggle with customers' item size and weights and the cost for inaccurate estimates. And we also ultimately had to cancel some jobs. It was when we found Live Switch Contact. Their video tool for quoting changed everything. We saved $5,000 in the first month alone. And our only regret is we didn't try them sooner. All right, everybody, welcome to Mornings with Movers. Corey will be joining us soon, but basically, let's just talk about it. We are in the summer, and are you crushing it? Is the question right now. So ultimately, I've been talking to a lot of moving companies, um, and just realizing that some people are just inching by. And what we are at the 13th in June. And you're just inching by right now to get through the summer, I don't know what to say. And I think a big cause to it is their level of marketing. And it's still I guess, wait, how do you say it? Eats at me. Whereas like you're in business, but you don't have a marketing plan. And I know it could be definitely about money. I'm not naive to it, but you have to start somewhere. And it can't just be word of mouth. It can't just be Facebook advertisement. I feel like with SEO and Facebook, Instagram, TikTok, maybe if you got tons of followers, maybe it could benefit you. But if you don't, it's like what is it? You have to find the followers. So even if you put your business out there and you're advertising the same way every day or every so often, where you're like, oh, we got trucks. Look how good our guys are doing. If you need to move, let us load you up or whatever the case is. Those are hitting us if you're not doing Facebook ads, those are hitting the same people that likelihood either you already moved or have no intentions of moving right now. But those are people that are in your warm circle because those are your friends. So I feel like SEO, Facebook ads, any of that, or yeah, SEO, social media marketing, all has to be like last once you get your marketing all dialed in. Welcome, Corey.
How's it going? How's it going?
Another day,
Apologies,
I was dropping the
apologies.
gems while I was waiting on you. I was getting them all buttered up. But
Nice, nice.
no, so basically what I was going over was I've been talking to a bunch of movie companies recently, and like I said, a lot of these guys are still slow, and it's June
Uh-huh.
13th, right?
Oh, yeah, yeah, yeah.
I had the unfortunate truth of asking a person, I'm saying, hey, how many marketing leads do you average on regular per month? And the person was
Uh-huh.
like, uh, uh,
Uh,
right. Just off of that. And then he was like,
yeah, yeah.
I get about 2 to 3 bookings a week. Then ask how many bookings you got. Ask,
Yeah, yeah, yeah,
ask
yeah.
how many
Yeah, what does the
opportunities
pipeline look like? Yeah, yeah, yeah.
came to your door, you know?
Man. Yeah.
And, you know, I think that's the difference maker between those that last and those that just started to get going.
Yeah, yeah, absolutely. I mean, just think about it when when we were back there, how much we were spending on marketing alone just to make sure we got enough leads in so we could close because it's a very small percentage. It's hey, if you talk to 100 people, you only expect to close one, two or three people. So the averages are very, very small. So if you're only booking, one or two jobs a week, what does that marketing look like? How much money are you spending on marketing? You got to spend money to make money, whether you want to or not. Hmm.
So yeah, so that's basically what it comes down to. And I would say probably on average, I spent 120,000 per year on marketing.
Yeah, yeah, it's
But
up there.
yeah. But the thing is, we were making about in a finished full year about 763.
Yeah, Hmm.
So, so that's not bad. That's a great return, actually, for
Yeah,
all
because you
that you're
guys,
pushing out.
because y'all had three trucks, right?
Towards the later year, we have four.
For okay, because see, I did just about a quarter of a million with one truck. We rented a truck here and there when we needed it, but just looking at those numbers, if you got one truck, you need to keep that truck moving. So you got to spend some money on marketing to keep that truck moving, and the truck should be a moving billboard. So you got your market in there also. But yeah, it's I mean you got to keep that pipeline full, especially if you don't have reoccurring revenue or storage fees that you're charging. So you got to keep that pipeline full.
Hey everybody, my name is Dwight Mack with Max Moving Training. So we're gonna be doing a move and a pack today. But before we go in, there's just 10 basic rules that we just need to know before participating with this service. So number one, understand moving is a very, very stressful thing. The customer, they're uplifting their life from one location to another. They're having to call all these vendors and get all these suppliers in place so that basically they can make that transition. So their stress level is at the highest right now. We need to be a service provider that comes in and basically keep that stress level mitigated or very low. Come in as professionals and do our job the way we know how to do our job so that this customer is less stress during that move process. Number two, be on time. First impression is everything. You guys showing up outside of the window rubs the customer the wrong way. It messes up the rest of the move process. Even if you guys do the best job y'all can do, because one thing was off, this customer's mood is just off. Go up and beyond, be there before the time, as long as they're okay with it.
And
Absolutely.
if you guys are just starting out, as long as you got your insurance in place, Corey
Yeah.
just hit it on the nail. Get storage.
Yeah. Yeah. Because you need that recurring
It's
revenue.
like you're likely near a self-storage. So
Hmm.
if you're near a self-storage, understand what their rates are and understand what you would charge.
Hmm.
And I based everything off of the normal storage vaults that we would have in our warehouse. So it made it 10 times easier. The normal storage units that you have in your warehouse is probably about 5 by 7 or five or
Yeah.
around
It's
there.
like, yeah. Yeah. I think it was like a 5 by 7 or 5 by 8 or something like that.
Yeah. So if you base it off of that, we say, hey, that means we could fit 200 cubic feet in per vault. We're starting small. We're gonna say, hey, you
Yeah.
know what? Uh 5 by 5, or if you want to do it 5 by 5 times 8 is 25, 200. So it's about 200 cubic feet. So it's equivalent to a 5 by 5 storage unit.
Right.
So if you decide to do self-storage, just know that one of your vaults that you may have when you get your warehouse is going to be a 5 by 5. What will that cost you? And you like, oh, well,
Yeah.
it's going to cost me $40 at the self-storage unit. Okay, well, you can't charge but so much more than that because you know
Yeah.
that
They can
obviously
just
right
take it over
now
that way. Yeah.
your expense is going towards the storage unit. So maybe you
Yeah.
might be able to charge them $60, $70, but any
Hmm.
more than that, you're pricing yourself out of the storage.
Yeah, and it's not even when you look at it from overall standpoint, the cost of the materials, because I think it was just a couple of what plywood boards you just pieced together with
Hmm.
some clamps. So ideally, what you're looking for is how long can I keep this piece of material making me money, and if all you have to do is put some stuff in there and let it sit a couple months, you don't have to do anything. And once you start to see that reoccurring revenue coming in, you'll start to look at that and say, oh, well, how can I get me some more boxes? Because I think you could stack them what three boxes
The
high, three
goal is
tiers
three
high.
high.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. So you think about if you get even a warehouse, maybe a 1,500, maybe a 2,000 square foot warehouse, you can make a lot of money just using those boxes and stacking them up. I mean, like you
Yeah,
said, once
you'll
you get
make
that
your cost
reoccurring revenue,
back.
yeah.
It's probably going to cost you, with shipping and everything, you're probably going to be looking at about an average of
Mm.
$400 to $600 per vault.
Yeah, yeah.
Um, so you'll make that back in time. It may not,
Yep.
obviously you're only charging, say, $60 or whatever the case is. So it may take you, technically, if you
Hmm.
do $60, it might take you
Yeah,
10 months to make that back.
yeah.
But
but you'll make money on other things too, like the insurance, the transportation fees. So your core is the let us put your stuff in the box, and we'll charge you this amount every month. But you also have the other items outside of that. So, like I said, transportation, and you can charge them an additional insurance fee. Whatever other fee you come up with, but that core price, and then how can you raise that ticket price a little bit? But I mean, you'll make your money back tenfold.
so, and Corey hit it again. Corey just dropping gems to you today. So, well, like he mentioned, there's upsell items.
Hmm.
So you basically have some people charge for blankets going into these
Yep.
stores because guess what? You don't have those blankets on your truck anymore.
Blankets, TV boxes, mattress covers. Because when we were in business, we wouldn't move your mattress without a mattress pad. We wouldn't move the TV without a TV box. So you think about all those other, like you said, little add-ons that you can put in there. Especially if you got a mattress in there, you probably want to put it in a box. Depending on how long it's going to
Hmm.
be staying. So a box versus a mattress pad, just to upcharge. And we usually would keep we would take the boxes back after we, unload everything. So you're making money on the boxes, you're making money on the actual storage vault. Like you said, blankets, insurance. So there's a lot of ways to, add some additional fees there.
Exactly. And then don't forget, you
Mm-hmm.
got your handle in fee and you got your handle out
Yep,
fee.
yep, yep. Because we got to
So,
bring it in and we got to take it out. Yep, admin
and
fee,
know
whatever.
that you got two moves at some point in time
Mm-hmm.
because one move is going in and one move has to come out.
Yeah.
So,
And then
at
if
the
they
end of the
have to come
day,
in and get something, while it's in storage, I've seen where people charge a fee to come in and get your stuff, but I don't think people would probably do that in today's time. If it was in another warehouse, storage facility, they're not going to charge you to come in and just, get your stuff. But yeah, if you do have it in a warehouse, you do have to use a forklift and probably, open the box up for the customer. So that does take a little time, but I probably would just eat that cost, because you don't want to nickel and dime them too much.
yeah, you always want to build great customer value. So I will tell
Yeah.
customers, hey, we're not going to charge you to come grab stuff, but give us a day's notice so
Yeah,
that we
yeah,
could.
yeah. Because you got to have somebody at the shop to actually let them in and get it. Because it's not traditional where they got a key and they could just,
Yeah,
be
and some
liable to move some
companies won't
stuff
even let
around.
them let people access that. They'll be like, hey,
And that's probably an insurance thing too, because you
yeah,
don't want to. Yeah, you got a
because
forklift and
then
stuff.
that issue comes down to is like, oh, we're missing the item that we inventory going in, and the
Yeah,
customer's like, what happened? And it's like, well, you came back at some point, you got some stuff.
yeah,
Well, I didn't get that. So where
yeah.
is it? And
Hmm.
it is like, yes, they did. They just don't remember, and
Remember?
you
Yeah,
definitely aren't remembering
yeah,
exactly what they got.
yep. Nope.
So,
So
but we have, like I said, storage is an amazing option. I would recommend getting started with it. Just like anything else, leverage these other companies. So if you're worried about, oh, well, I don't have the insurance to cover it, da 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 da, the storage facility has insurance.
hmm
Their insurance is very affordable.
yeah, $10 a month or something like that.
Depending on how much coverage you need.
Yeah.
And you could write that off to the customer. Hey, so we at a minimum, we provide this much insurance. The storage place, hey, they're gonna charge me $10. I'm gonna charge her $15.
Hmm.
So I make five not a 5%, but like 50% profit margin off of this or whatever the case is. I'm gonna make $5 off of this, but that's the minimum. Hey, do you want more insurance? Do you think your stuff is gonna be worth more than five thousand
Yeah.
dollars? Oh
Hmm.
yeah, I think it's at least 15,000. Okay, well then that 15,000 now becomes $30 and you charge
Hmm. Yeah,
$45.
yeah.
So now again, you're making money, but until you get your own place, that's when things will be wholesale, where you can say,
Yeah.
hey, I'm making all the money, but you
Hmm.
need to find a starting point.
When your team isn't trained, mistakes happen. Jobs go wrong. Customers complain. And your business? It suffers. At Max Moving Training, we help moving companies like yours build strong, reliable teams from the inside out. From mover and driver training to sales, operations, marketing, and leadership, we give your people the skills to succeed. When everyone is trained, everything runs smoother and your business grows stronger. Training isn't optional. It's essential. Stop guessing. Start training. Join Max Moving Training today.
Yeah, yeah, but like you said, if you go to traditional storage, get you a couple of units. What's that? Maybe what, 300 or $400 a month, and then all you got to do is just keep them filled up, and you take the stress off the customer because they don't have to worry about renting a place, doing this, getting a truck, taking everything there, unloading it. You just take care of everything, but just in a different location. So, like you said, that's a
Hmm.
good starting point. It costs a little more, but once you get the ball rolling, you see how easy it is. You take that $600, $700 investment and go ahead and buy your first vault, get it set up, do what you need to do, and then you figure it out and you go from there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And again, if y'all don't want to do the warehouse thing and maybe you find a piece of land or whatever the case is that you acquired for your business, you start building storage on it,
Hmm.
build self-storage. Let people do what they
Yeah.
got to do, whatever the case is, and you can either make it self-efficient ultimately when you get money, where hey, they come to a kiosk, they fill everything out, da da da, they get like any of these other storage units. They don't have
Hmm.
man overseeing everything now, like
Uh, uh,
because people don't want to work apparently.
no.
You know, so I know it kind of like the topic kind of started with, hey, people are slow this year. And,
Hmm.
and then we went over into storage. But I think that it's important to know that there's options out there. Like, and there's things that they are free. So, like networking, look up free networking events before
Hmm.
breakfast events where before I used to go into the office at 9. They said, oh, we got a networking event at this hotel free to come to, speed networking from 8 to 9.
Uh-huh.
Okay, sure, I'll go there. Got my outfit on, got my logoed out shirt, got some cards with me, and I go meet some people. Oh, you're a realtor. Oh, you're an insurance broker. Oh, you are whatever you are, and I'm like,
Yeah.
hey, here's a card, here's a card, here's a card, because you know what? Moving, we can move anybody.
Pretty much it.
Anybody and everybody got to move at some point,
Hmm.
whether it's their business or their personal life.
Yep.
So that's the benefits that we get, that we are like Louis Mazar's used to say, we are a recession-proof business.
Yeah. Especially during COVID. I mean, that was proof. I mean, numbers were out the park during COVID.
So, if you don't have marketing and you don't have a strong sales team, you're pretty much doomed for failure in this business. Um,
Yeah.
but at the end of the day, there's people like call centers. I'm a big advocate of moving sales professionals. Yuri over there, he does a really great job. His team does a great job over there. And they, really just take over your sales. They don't make money unless you make money.
That's,
So, the industry average right now for your admin payroll, and I don't think it's even including yourself, is about 10%, 10 to 12%.
okay.
That's including taxes, tax liability, that include the actual payroll, etc. So it's about 10 to
Hmm.
12% of your actual revenue usually.
Okay.
With that being said, if you use a call center, you don't have the overhead of all the computers. So you're going to cut all that out. You don't have the
Hmm.
overhead of office phones. You're going to cut all that
Yep.
out.
Hmm.
Um, and you're going to cut out other expenses around it. And then you're essentially going to give this company 15% or industry average. The industry
Yeah.
average call
Yeah.
center is about
Yep.
15%.
Uh,
You're going to get on 15% of your sales. But all the other costs that you're cutting down around it, you're cutting down all the paper in the office, you're cutting down all of the stuff around it. So that 15% is pulling 3% from somewhere else that you would have
hmm.
acquired anyways for having
Yeah.
your own sales team.
Yeah, but you also got to think about the what you're alleviating. Also, is the I got to find somebody. This person quit. Some of the stuff you were telling me,
Hmm.
during our last conversation, where people were just faking phone calls, right? Just dialing and hanging up, or whatever it is they're doing. Now you don't have to take care of that. That responsibility is on someone else's plate. But you still have to, monitor it a little bit. But I think about back when I was in the office and I would come in, 7, 8 o'clock in the morning. The first thing I'm doing is dialing. We got phone calls from yesterday. We got a couple calls from today. So before I had a call center, that's what we did. Hey, saw you were looking for a move, blah, blah, blah. Do your 3 to 5, point touch, make sure you're staying in touch with them because they can reach out to somebody else. You think about all of that stuff and you say, oh, 15%. Yeah, no problem. Go ahead, take over it. All I have to do is worry about dispatching operations now, and I don't have to worry about the phone calls, getting jobs booked, trying to negotiate this, that, and the third, and it's handled by somebody else. So that, because that's the most critical piece of your business, that's where the revenue comes in. Because if that's not right, then nothing else matters, right? Because you don't have money coming in the door.
Mm-hmm. And you got to think about it. What else are you paying for? You're paying for onboarding time, whether you
Mm-hmm.
put a value to it or not.
Yep.
Um,
Indeed. All of that.
if you're paying for Indeed, ZipRecruiter, whatever the
Yep.
case is, because Indeed changed
Mm-hmm.
their algorithm now.
Man, I
So
haven't been on Indeed in years, so I don't.
exactly, they changed their algorithm now. They allow you to post for
Yeah.
free, but
Okay. Okay.
they only allow you to post a certain ad. And if the ad resembles another ad that you posted in the past and it lasted
Uh.
30 days, you now got to pay for it.
Yeah.
So
Yeah. I haven't been on
so
there in a
to
while.
yeah, to think about that, hey, I got to now pay for to see resumes of people that may be good,
Good. Yeah.
invite them into my
Might be a
office,
bit.
onboard train them,
Yeah.
and make sure that they deliver a result that I need them to deliver.
Mm-hmm.
And what is all that costing you? Are
Yeah.
you worried about that measly 3%? Whereas,
I mean, because
hey,
you got to think about it. That 3% could. I mean, the thing about business is you want your cost as fixed as possible. So if you know it's 15% and it's always going to be 15%, then you can make adjustments in other areas. But like you said, if it's 10 to 12, it might jump up to 17, might jump back down because whatever happened throughout the year. But if it's 15%, and I know that my phone's calls are going to be answered, jobs are going to get booked, follow ups are going to happen, that 15% now seems like a blessing in disguise, right? That 3% difference that you were talking, 3 to 5% difference that you were talking about. Large scale, yeah, that might make a little difference, but starting out, if you can have something that's dialed in, that's ready to go, you got a machine that's working constantly, you eat that 3% until you can do something better.
yeah, and if you think about it, if you make $1 million, let's say you got four trucks, you make $1 million in a
Yeah.
year, you're paying out $150,000 to
Yeah.
your sales team.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. I mean, and then you
You
do
made
the
a
math.
million. Like,
Yeah, and if you want more, yeah, and then if you want more than that, you say, hey, we'll bring that, in house, and you do it that way. You might be able to keep it cheaper, but hey, again, you got to look at the numbers, play it out for a couple of
I
months
don't
to
think
see,
you'll be able to keep it cheaper unless you're cheap, because think
I
about
don't
it.
know. I would argue that one. I think you could make it cheaper in house than you could outsourcing. I think you could get down
You
to
could.
maybe
So
eight. Let's
let,
call it 8%, right? If you add some AI in there, right?
Number three, make sure your team is in uniform, they're groomed, their hygiene is checked, because that's the worst thing you could do, especially going in a house. Customer can smell your guy from a mile away, and now, again, their mood is just thrown off. So make sure that you guys are in uniform, you're tight, you have uniform shirts, it doesn't look like, you have a laborer that's, hired from off the street. Presentation is everything that goes towards your first impression. Number four, introduce both you and your partner when greeting a customer. Don't just go to the door by yourself, while your driver is unloading the truck, and introduce yourself. Actually have both of you there. Introduce yourself first, then introduce your partner second, and then, allow them to welcome you into their home.
yes, if you add AI in there with today's technology, yes, you could probably make it
Yeah.
definitely cheaper in that case. But again, I feel like you still want a human touch with moving. Like you don't
Mm.
want just this, oh, well, that's what you're moving? Okay, great. What we'll do is we'll take your information and here's your quote. Because if people know that they can do that with your system, they're gonna abuse it to just get the basic information, get a quote, and say, oh,
Yeah.
he's charging this. All right, I'm going somewhere else. So
Yeah, and
eventually,
see that, yeah. So that's what I used to do. So I think I told you that, and a couple other people, even when we were on the phones, even my sales the Krups team, when they were doing calls for me, I would send them quotes from other companies in my area. So we had like 2 Men in a Truck, All My Sons, and a couple other top profile companies. So I called them, hey, so All My Sons, hey, I got a 2 bedroom move from my house to whatever the average was, about 10 to 15 miles. So, hey, yep, I got a 3 bedroom, 2 bedroom, whatever. So I get a couple different quotes. And while I'm on the phone with the customer, oh, well, I'm going to take some time to think about it. Sure, no problem. While you're thinking about it, let me go ahead and send you this quote from Two Men in a Truck and this other company, just so you'll have those numbers in place. So you can just kind of see what the difference is. And you may not even have to call them. This will give you a little more information. So I've already pre-done the work for them. I'm just, hey, here, you can make a decision now because you're going to get the same information when you call them. I'm just one step ahead now. So I'm playing, chess at this point. There's no reason for you to go call another company if I'm presenting you what they're going to tell you when you call them. You know what I mean? So,
Hmm.
hey, here, we're charging 600. All my sons does the same thing. They're going to charge about 700. This company does it. They're going to charge about 400, so they're going to be a little bit less. Just being transparent, we're in the middle. This is what you're going to get, maybe you want to make sure that they put you on the first schedule before they put you on the afternoon schedule, because chances are they may not get to you. So when you pass those bit of nuggets out to the customers ahead of time, that's what I instructed the sales team to do when I had them at the time. That gives you a better, hey, we're transparent. If you want to go with somebody that's going to charge more, absolutely, but this is what it looks like in the industry when you make those calls. So yeah, we were on it.
Yeah, no, you was too on it. I don't
Yeah.
know. I feel like I seen everybody as a partnership opportunity
Hmm.
in my area, and I think that's how we had so much success. Is that we were going to get work regardless. Like we
Oh
had
yeah.
great
Oh yeah.
reviews. Our
Hmm.
Google Garden was managed
For
properly,
Yeah, 4.5, four,
and
5 stars.
that's a very important thing too that y'all all need to know as well as your Google Garden. So what it basically entails is Google your own company and see everywhere your company pops up at. Yelp,
Mhm.
Facebook, Google Maps.
And
Um,
somehow Yelp always has a bad review. Somehow, some way, I don't know.
uh,
Yelp is, oh my goodness, man. Yelp
um,
is,
so the more companies you get affiliated with, that you
yeah.
could build a partnership with, whether it's a lead provider, whether it's just a real estate agency that want to market your business. Whoever you get associated with, see if they have some sort of SEO involved with their service. Like, are you going to put my name, my company name online? Yellow Pages is
Hmm.
big for it, even though people don't really use Yellow Pages like that anymore, but it's still a thing. So when you look at all these sites, see what your reviews are saying. Oh, geez, HomeAdvisors, my reviews is like a 4.4. Or,
Hmm.
Facebook, my reviews is like a 4.8, but my Google Maps is like a 5.
Hmm.
Okay. So you've been nurturing your Google Maps present, your Google reviews, but you see that you need a little bit more reviews on Home Advisors for sure, and you need
Yeah.
some, and you could use some reviews on Facebook. Okay.
Hmm.
So now you start to gravitate these links. So anytime you get a Home Advisor customer, a Home Advisor lead,
Yeah,
hey,
it's
can you
just
please
routed to
provide us
them. Hmm.
a Facebook, or even your regular customer. Hey, do you mind going off Facebook and just leaving us a review? Make sure you have the link ready, even if you have a
Hmm.
QR code. Have
Yeah, but
it.
yeah, like I said, all of that should be automated in the system. So even it should already be able to tag, oh, this customer came from this source, so we need to send them this link for whatever. So, and that's where I was saying we could cut down on the admin stuff, because I've used some of those tools in the past where it's like, well, you finished up the job, we'll send them a referral link. Do you want them to go to your website? You want them to go to Google? You want them to go here? To do it. So again, as you start to automate, like when we were talking about cost earlier, I mean that's we don't even have to, think about that once it's in the system, but that's a critical piece. You want those reviews on every channel, where you are.
Yeah. So these are the nuggets, guy. Yeah, on how to be a little bit more successful, a little more proactive, with your business if your business isn't thriving. Like we mentioned, storage. You can get that up and going right away.
Hmm.
As soon as you get a
Oh,
storage.
let me throw one other idea out here, and I'm thinking about it. And somebody else might can grab this idea. But for moving companies, maybe you guys can start a membership subscription where you guys can share tools and stuff. Because I know one of the biggest issues I had was getting shrink wrap, getting boxes and things that I needed of that nature. So Maybe this is a situation where you guys get a couple of storage facilities throughout the area. You can start a membership and you'll always have access to equipment. You just fill up the storages with the equipment that you need, over time versus, oh man, I don't have boxes. I got to go here and get this, or I don't have a dolly. Now I got to go, buy this. If you keep a, storage facility, just put enough equipment in case something comes up. You could charge other moving companies in the area, say, hey, we'll charge you $30 a month. If you guys ever need, equipment, we'll have it here for you. Especially the ones that are starting out because they don't have any, they don't have a warehouse. They're probably using their garage, their living room to store stuff. Kind of how we started out. So just the idea I've been thinking about. So maybe somebody could run with that, where it's, hey, we put all the stuff in the, storage facility on this side of town and this side of town. And if you guys, need access, you're a member, so you could just go get what you need, document inventory, whatever. But that might be an idea to create some reoccurring revenue for somebody, as I was thinking about it this week. So there you are.
Hey, there y'all go. Corey dropping those gems. And there's
Hey,
always so
I
many
just want a small
ideas.
royalty.
Exactly. There's always so many ideas on how you
Yeah.
can continue to make more and more money.
Mm, yeah.
And it's just a matter of test, tracking, and tweaking all of these
Hmm.
ideas,
Yep.
including your marketing. Keep track of
Yep.
all your marketing leads. Use your marketing ROI reports
Yep.
to keep track of how much you're spending on one source. And just because you spend 500 and maybe you got 10 leads out of the 500 and
Don't mean
they
nothing.
all were maybe they all were legit. They were all customers that wanted to move,
Yep.
but you didn't book not a single one of them.
Yep.
It's easy to
Yep.
just say, hey, I'm gonna give up.
Yep. Because I tell you, so I was using Billy.com, and I loved them because they were like $5 a lead. So we were getting a crazy amount of leads. But of course, they weren't really, turning over. Angie's leads, we were paying, geez, man, I think it was like $25, $30 a lead or something. It was crazy. But that was the highest converting, channel that we had. So we were spending about 3 grand a month on Angie's leads, not getting a lot of leads, but we were spending, call it $500 a month on Billy, and we weren't closing, anywhere near what we were doing on Angie's leads. So the quality of leads matters also. When I went back and looked at my ROI like we do, I was like, man, Billy is sending me leads left and right. We're making phone calls. We got a lot of activity going on. But when I looked at the numbers, we weren't really booking anything from Billy. But when I looked at Angie's leads, I'm like, man, you were spending like 3 grand a month. I'm like, there's no way. Like, I got to cut this back. And when I went and looked at the numbers, I'm like, oh, they brought us almost $20,000 in revenue. Oh, so this 3,000 is actually, So when you go look at your numbers, you make decisions, based off the data and not the emotions. Because emotionally, Billy got me moving. We're making phone calls. The phones is ringing. Everything is good, but we're not closing. So you look at your numbers, it'll tell you the truth.
Yep. He said it best, y'all. He's been dropping those gems.
Yeah.
All right. All right, y'all. We are at the top of the time.
Okay.
Um, I hope y'all got some value. We love doing these episodes so that we can continue to drop value and knowledge and share helpful tools. So chime in, like, comment, and subscribe down below. And we're gonna holler at y'all next week. All right,
Yes,
y'all.
sir.
Keep crushing it.
See you later.